We would like to welcome you to True North. If you are a guest and it's your first time here, we're not going to embarrass you or call you out, but in just a minute, we're going to have a 4-minute party. We're all going to stand up, and when we do, we have some people that'll be up here to give you a gift card while we all mill around. All you got to do is come up here and meet them during that 4-minute party, and we'll do that in just a second. If you're joining us online, we are glad to have you with us. We have folks watching from all over. Thanks for joining us, and feel free to join us here in the filling station in Murfreesboro anytime that you are in town. Blake, anybody you want to say hello to tonight?
Chandler Maples, and then my parents and Leah who are watching, and I've given up on John Shoulders. So.
You sound like my parents and Leah, they're watching.
Well, it's just the same old, same old.
All right, well, we should have we need to
usual.
We need to have like a call Big Larry sometime and ask him a question.
Okay.
We'll have to think of something to do. A trivia thing.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Or name that tune. I don't know. So we have several that are homesick. You said Chandler has the flu? Chandler, I know that Lila May is home as well. I'm sorry, Lila May, and I hope you're feeling better. Several other folks that are ill, and we are glad that you are at least able to tune in and join us this way. So, okay. So many things happening tonight, everybody. And so if you're one of our greeters, would you come on up here and get ready to greet our guests? We're going to all stand up in just a moment, and we're going to meet. We're going to meet one another. This is your last chance to order a hoodie. Your last chance to order a hoodie or a crew neck. If you want one, you need to text us tonight or write it down, first and last name, style, and size. Give that to us, and we're going to place that order.
Hey,
everybody else, it's time for us to stand up, and let's meet somebody. Let's have a 4-minute party. Let's go. Let's go.
Not here today.
He has a 110 fever.
He's in the hospital.
Oh my God.
Just spread that. That's real. When the 4-minute party is over and done, you have 4 friends, and then you invite them to come sit with you because you have 4 empty chairs, and you have 4 empty chairs, and you're so cool and nice. And me and Chandler and Mabel, who isn't here today, and Campbell and Katie and Skid and Blake and God.
It's a camera. He just died.
He died. Chandler's dead.
Chandler.
Rest in peace. You're 104 fever, 110, 1 million.
Chandler just died. Finally. Oh, what? That's such a real notification. Chandler died. Chandler died. What happened? He's dead. Let's go. Get gritty in front of the camera.
Hey.
Cooper Rager, get gritty in front of the camera.
Hey, you know him? Hey, man. Yeah, this. Awkward. Right. You and me face to face. So, you having fun watching online? Yeah. This is him. I'm him. Yeah. Hey, this is kind of awkward. Maybe you should speak some more. Come on.
Ryder. Talk to me, man.
It won't bite.
Ryder, move.
They're like.
Here, boys. Ryder, move.
Rawr.
Yo, baby. Move. Hi. Hey, Lila. I love you.
They should really pick on someone their own size.
That's what I'm saying.
Hey, I just want to say you look really nice today. You look really nice. Okay, bye.
Hey, everybody watching home, a big night tonight. Sorry we have some folks that are out sick. Chandler, hope you're feeling better. Lila May, love you and hope you're doing good. Mom and Dad, hope you're enjoying watching wherever you are watching from. And happy belated birthday, Dad. I have to send you an Abraham Lincoln sticker. I'm sure you're dying to get one. Everybody else, we look forward to a fabulous night at True North. Lots of energy in the room. Everybody stay safe and stay well. And we'll see you later. Have a great night.
I just want to say you still look nice.
All right, we're just having our own conversation up here. How many of you got to meet somebody that you do not know? Raise your hand. All right, very good. Okay, so let's do this. We have some folks that are getting older or who are about to be older. Yeah. It's time for our birthdays in the borough. if your birthday falls between October 30th and November the 5th.
I know there's one for sure.
Is that right? Or did I change? Did I get the date wrong?
No.
I think I got the dates wrong.
Yeah, like this weekend is going to be.
It's November the 6th. November the 6th to November the what? 10th?
10th, 11th.
You all know it is. I have the dates
13th.
wrong. I'm sorry, it's my bad. But they still know we've got it. Alex, they brought you up here
Happy
because
birthday.
Alex did not want to come up here.
Happy birthday. All right.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. We got birthdays. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to sing to them in just a minute. But first, we're going to bring up Zeb Fox. Come on up, Zeb.
Hey, maybe when we run out of stickers, we'll just do Zeb's face for the sticker.
Zeb, I think we're finally getting into the music. All right, guys, you know how this works. You're going to have 30 seconds to get one of Zeb's famous charades. You guys close your eyes, bow your head so you cannot see the screen. Zeb, this is what you're going to have 30 seconds to convey. Here it is. All right, that's it. You guys can look up. You guys can look up. Nobody give any hints. The 30 seconds begin right now. Here we go. Talk loud. Speak it. Talk to us. Everybody listen to him.
Say words.
You've only got 20 seconds. Oh, my goodness. This should have been so easy.
You got it, Zeb.
I know what he's trying to do.
A diving board.
But I would never have gotten it.
Swimming.
You have 9 seconds. Play-Doh.
You're confused. You don't know. You're.
And time is up. Zeb, that might have been the worst one you've ever done. That might have been the worst one. Guys, here was your answer. That's what you were trying to do. Yeah, Phineas and Ferb.
Phineas and Ferb.
Was that supposed to be Perry the Platypus? I don't understand. All right. We're going to sing Happy Birthday, everybody. The way we sing Happy Birthday in the NBYG is with 3 simple words. And those words are, you're still cool. And it goes like this.
Well, you're 1 year older than you used to be. And you're still cool. You've still got it.
Just like that face. Here we go. You're still cool. Come on. It's your birthday today. Here we go. That's why we're
here to say
big finish.
you're still cool.
Everybody say happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And he's going to take him away. All right, very good.
Be safe.
Hey, Charlie, when it's my birthday, are you going to do that? Okay, you're going to carry me up here? All right, we'll see. Okay, good. Let's get a pick-me-up here. A pick-me-up, everybody. It is time for.
Well.
All right. Let's hear it, guys. Speak up and speak clearly, and let's listen.
Ryder.
Talk into the microphone.
You're on, dog.
Oh. No. Oh, one time.
Is it?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
there we
they
go.
got it. They got it.
Say a couple words so we know we can hear you.
Hey, I'm Ryder.
Speak. Hey, speak.
into
Hey,
it.
Ryder.
Hey, I'm
speak
Ryder.
loudly and clearly.
Hey, I'm Ryder.
I don't know if that microphone's
Hear that?
on.
Hear that? Is
Yeah.
that good?
Or I don't know that.
Hey.
Don't know that HH1 is working right.
Yay.
Try it now.
Hey. Is that good? Yeah, that's better.
I don't know mine works. Mine works.
Should have done a mic check. All right, here we go.
Go.
All right, let's go, guys.
All right. Shh. Ryder, so literally yesterday, I met this mother at I don't know where, I forget. But she had these 2 twin boys they were named Juan and Amal, and they were identical twins. You could not tell them apart. She had one baby photo in her wallet. Do you know why?
Because if you've seen Juan, you've seen them all.
All right, very good, very good. Give him a big hand as we send him off.
Good.
There we are. Okay, ladies.
Now you and I aren't on. Now we're not on.
We're not?
Oh, you're on now.
Yeah.
Am I on now?
think
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Ladies, Panera Bread tomorrow from 4 to 4 to 5. Is Peyton in the room? Is Peyton here? She's right there. Okay, Peyton, 4 to 5 at Panera Bread, and we look forward to seeing all the girls. Hey, speaking of the ladies, you all had a great time. Check out this picture right here. There's all of the grannies on Granny's Night Out. How many of you were here? Let's hear it. Make some noise if you were here. All right. Who won the best dressed?
I think Haley Derryberry and
Haley Derryberry. And your sister.
Heidi did.
Heidi, okay. All right, here's some of the pictures. I only have this one picture with Slater. I don't know how Slater got there, but nicely done. Good job. Thanks to those who made that an incredible night. Lots of great pictures. I was out of town and was getting some photos and texts, and it was great to see. All right, guys, it's getting closer and closer and closer. It's time for a Breeze countdown to Christmas. All right. So we're getting closer. We're now into November. And how many days are there? There are, everybody, 45 days. 45 days until Christmas. There we go. Speaking of Christmas, everybody, the toy drive is right around the corner. We're excited. All right, very good. Now, Blake, if you'll remind us of our dates for the toy drive parties here in the filling station. Let's see those.
November 28th all the way to Thursday, the December the 1st.
But wait a minute. There's no Tuesday there. What's happened to Tuesday?
Tuesday is our Journeys in Community Living Party, which is, as we call it, the closest thing to heaven that probably happens in the filling station each year. Again, we're just swapping those because of some conflict with city school system and just making it a little easier for some students and families to be able to come to that. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we are currently taking donations to help our Walmart trips and the things that we're doing to make sure that we have toys to give out.
Hey, the flyers have already gone out to the students in the schools. I'm sure you're talking with one another about how excited you are about the toy drive and how you can sponsor a child. Our goal for this entire event is about $12,000. I say that not just to the adults in the back, but also to you all up here and anybody watching online. That is our goal. We raise money throughout the month of November, and right now, raised so far, we are sitting at $520. So we're going to need to, and normally that's about where we are right now. It's the last 3 Sundays of November that a lot of our donations come in. But guys, listen carefully, everybody, listen carefully. Here's how you can help. If everybody in the NBYG, if we've got about 280 or so active students, if the 280 or 300 of you were all to sponsor one child, then that would easily take care of that goal. That would do that. On Sunday, you're going to have a chance. The plan is you'll have a chance to scan a QR code and donate online for that, or you can stop by and actually pick up a star and go and buy the gifts yourself, or you can donate for one or more kids and we'll do the shopping for you. But it's going to be a big, big, big week. Lots of things happening, and we really want to have a lot of you here because we're inviting about 100 kids per night. And we'll see. And we're avoiding the night that we'll think there'd be a conflict, so we should have a good crowd every single night. That is happening. Then, that's our party with all the kids. That's the party that we love. But just to celebrate the great job that you did, guys, we're excited to let you know that once again this year, on December the 14th, it is going to be time for our NBYG Ugly Christmas Sweaters Skating Spectacular. That happens on the 14th at the Smyrna Skate Center. You'll see more about that, but that's happening. All right. We have some things to celebrate. Blake, we found out that there is some news in the room that we think is a pretty big deal. One of those things is this. Yeah. Check out. This past weekend was the National Academy Championship Horse Show. Is that not what it's called? Oh, okay. The National Academy. This is like the World Series. This is like the World Series of horse shows, I'm told. Do the Astros come and cheat at this one too? Do they have horses? I'm just curious. All right, but we have a champion in our midst right here, Miss Emily Priestley. Check it out. That's pretty awesome. And then we have more pictures. There we go. Another one. So Emily, you were the reserve grand champion, and then you won some other awards. What was that?
Marcus the horse. Also,
the horse is named Marcus. Oh, nice. And then what else did you win?
It's like a 3-day competition. You have to qualify.
You have to qualify every day to move on to the next round.
The first day I got first.
Okay.
And then the second day they combine age groups. So it's
Yep.
14, 15, and I'm showing a 16-year-old. I got second. And then the third day it's 14 to 18-year-olds.
It's-
I got fourth.
Okay, very good. Well, congratulations. That's pretty awesome. Where was this held? Where's it held? Louisville? Oh, right up here in the middle. Okay, very good. All right, well, there you go.
Way to go, Marcus, if you're watching.
Hey, we have another champion. We have another champion, Blake. This is really exciting. Did you realize that we have the JV high school girls TSSAA cross-country champion, and it's our very own Grady Barrett. Grady Barrett, right there. So, first of all, it's Brady, not Grady. And second of all, Brady is not the girls' champion. But somehow it gets listed on the web. Like, man, you destroyed Riley by several minutes there.
Poor Riley.
Sure, she's feeling bad. But congratulations. We got all that straightened out, right? Hey, Brady, is all that cleared up now? All right, did Riley actually win? Oh, okay.
So where did you finish in the guys' race? 9th.
Okay, all right. That's still impressive. Both these folks, y'all, that's impressive. I think that is a pretty big deal.
Finn.
That was better. Hey, guys, would you like to see something that's incredible? Something that's incredible.
It does kind of have a Wild Times feel. The slide.
Have you ever heard of a sucker catfish?
Yeah.
It's this is a catfish,
I
y'all.
had some
This is a I don't know what the actual scientific name is, but this sucker catfish can live out of water for sometimes up to 30 hours and can live in a dried out riverbed in the mud of a river that's been drained, sometime for months, and then they dry out, and then when you this is crazy, when you pour water on them, then it revives them. And
it's like the straw.
Yeah, look at this. This fish right here it's dead. It's like it is dust. And look, it's breaking off until they put water on it. And it immediately comes back to life. And actually revives, and they can put it in the water and swim away.
It's like
it's pretty crazy.
My grandfather showed me how to do the straw trick, where you like crumple the straw
right.
up and you pour water on it and it grows.
It is exactly like Blake's grandfather's straw trick.
Old Pappy.
That's good. Okay, this next one here takes a couple of minutes, but y'all, this is all real, not been doctored. Anybody here good at pool, like billiards?
Billiards.
Okay, yeah, not yeah. You are?
Some say I'm the best.
Some say. All right, are you this good? Just check this out. Just watch me. I'll just let you sit back and watch these here. Watch these. Check it out. This really satisfies my OCD. This is not doctored, by the way. These are not doctored. Pretty impressive. Look here. Oh, watch this. Oh, look. Oh, this is very satisfying. Very, very nice. Unreal. That was incredible. Okay, now here's what's going to happen here. Can Colin do this?
This might have been a bad idea.
Look at there.
We're going to come in here next week, and there are going to be people in the back trying to make this happen.
Yeah, they're going to all try to. Watch this. Watch. Oh! Oh, no. Look at there. Yeah, I know. I knew everybody in the room was going to say he scratched. Yeah, thank you. Wait, was that? Who said that's incredible? JL, I like that. Yep, look at that. Check this one out. I don't even know what just happened right there. Oh, whoa.
That isn't how the game of pool.
Oh, look at that. Oh, now, guys, this is
broke it.
Oh. I'm not even sure what's going on here. Oh, look at that. Oh, there we go. Look at this. Oh. dominoes are involved. Look, watch. I know. Those dominoes are incredible. Hey, Colin, maybe you get to work making a video like this for us.
Yeah, next week. I want to,
By
after
next week,
Thanksgiving break.
by next week, we want one impressive shot.
Just one. In front of everybody.
Just one. Hey, I don't know about you guys, but I think that's incredible.
That's right. You do both.
Well,
You do a 7-10 split.
I don't know if this segment's going to work quite like it did the first time, but guys, it is time for a new little game that we're calling Say the Same Thing with Tanner and Grant. Come on up, guys. Now here's what we're going to do. We're going to shake it up a little bit. All right, we're going to shake it up. We need two ladies. We need two ladies that are good at this game. Georgia, would you pick a partner that you think you can do well with? And come on up, Georgia. Guys, we're going to share this microphone. Let's put those back in there a second. We're going to share them. Georgia, bring somebody up. You got like 3 seconds. Let's go. Come on. Come on up. Melanie's the volunteer. Now, do you know how to play this game? You guys know? Okay, would you go to the microphones, please? You're going to try to say the same word. On 1, 2, 3, you're going to say a word. Okay, get to the other mic there, Melanie. Yeah, you guys step aside for a second. There you go. Melanie's got that mic. You're going to try to say the same word. We're going to see if you can do it in 1, 2, or 3, or 4 rounds. And then if they can beat you, okay, then you lose. If you beat them in the fewer rounds, then we're going to give you all Sour Patch Kids, okay? All right, you got a word. You got to go fast. You don't have time to think about this. You ready? Into the microphone. 3, 2, 1.
North.
Okay, you give us a word.
Well, no.
I don't.
Say north.
Let's do it again. Do it again. Get a word ready. You got a word ready? Okay, you got another word. Another word. 3, 2, 1.
West.
Okay. You said what?
South.
South, and you said west. All right, we're going to try the next word. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
East.
Hey!
They got it in 1 round. All right, that's impressive. All right, you guys step right over here. Come right over here, ladies. Ladies, over here. I'm not feeling very good about the chance of them beating this. If not, you guys are going to get these. All right, so guys, you get 1 word, and then you're going to have 1 round. You ready? All right, Grant.
Ready?
3,
You can do
2,
it, Grant.
1.
Eagle.
Okay, your word was what?
Eagle.
Eagle
Like on a
and
shirt.
microphone. Eagle and
Grant,
microphone.
yeah, you can pick that up, Grant.
Or as Grant would have said, microphone. All right, Grant, yeah, you're going to need to use the microphone. All right, eagle and microphone. Guys, get a word ready. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Bald.
No, you got to say a word. What is it about that mic stand? Is it throwing everybody off? All right, you all have already won, so we're going to give you those. You already get those.
You gotta say something,
wait,
Grant.
you all said
I said bald.
bald.
I forgot. What's the megaphone? Was the word.
Bullhorn?
A megaphone.
Oh.
Megaphone?
Yeah.
What's the word
So
megaphone?
bald and megaphone. Okay, come on, we got to hurry, guys. 3, 2, 1.
Sound.
Sound and
Cone.
cone. Sound and cone. You got to hurry up. You got to think fast. 3, 2, 1.
Cheerleading.
What?
Cheerleading.
Cheerleading
Ears.
and ears. Cheerleading and ears. All right, you ready? Cheerleading and ears. 3, 2, 1.
Arena.
Palms.
Pom-poms and
Arena.
arena.
Man, this is awesome.
Pom-poms and arena. We're going to give you guys 2 more rounds. 2 more rounds, and we're calling it. Pom-poms and arena. 3, 2, 1.
Event.
Sports.
Okay, sports and
Event.
sports and event. Now, guys, you got 1 more shot at this.
You can do it.
Let's think this
Sports and event.
You can do it.
3, 2, 1.
Sporting
Games.
event.
What did you say?
What?
Sporting event.
Sporting event.
It's
No,
one
you can't
word.
do that.
I know I can't, but
And what'd you say?
it's fun.
Game. Game.
Game. All right. No, well, we're done. We're
Well,
done.
maybe
all
next
right,
time.
you all won. You all won. Congratulations.
Maybe
all right.
next
It
time.
did not go as well the second time around. You guys got it the first
Hey,
one.
way to go, girls.
Yes, nice job. That was impressive. I think we're going to change that to Georgia and Melanie from now on.
Yes, for sure.
It'll certainly go faster.
I mean, it works. They're both states. You got Florida and Georgia.
Oh, that's right. Only one thing can pick us up out of that, and it's this.
Goodness gracious.
All right. Wild Times with Cooper Grubbs. Cooper?
Hello?
All right. You got one for us?
Sure thing.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so this one time I was hanging out with Luke Shirley after church on Sunday, and this was at the time when Pokemon Go was real big. So we took some bikes out and we went to MTSU because that's where a lot of Pokestops are, and we were playing Pokemon Go. And then when we were biking back to his house, I thought it'd be a phenomenal idea to play Pokemon Go while I'm biking. So I end up in the middle of the road, just trying to catch a Jigglypuff. And this car just starts honking, and I have to swerve off to the side, I almost got hit by a car. Yeah, it's pretty wild times.
Way to go. Good for you.
Wild times. Did you catch it? Did you get it? Okay, well, you got to catch them all. All right. As we get ready to shift, those are our fun segments. We do have one more segment, but it's going to set us up for our worship, which is going to take place in just a minute. A segment that we're just going to call "This Is Kind of Like That."
You can blow with this, you can blow with that. You can blow with this, or you can blow with that. Or you can blow with
I just like this segment just for the song.
You can blow with us.
I want somebody to raise your hand when you can tell me. Thank you, Zach. When you can tell me what is happening in this video. I'll just leave it at that. Try to decode what's happening in this video. Now, I'm looking for a serious answer. Finn? Bird is trying to get its food. You're on to something. You're getting close. Yes, Allison. The bird, you're getting closer, Zoe.
Okay.
The bird is not yelling at the worm. No, the bird is not yelling at the worm. Let's come back over to this side of the room, Jack. The bird is not trying to scare the worm to another bird.
It's trying to let it crawl in its mouth.
Yeah, you're closer. It's
Okay.
trying to let the worm crawl in its mouth because, Cooper? Say it louder. It's used to being fed by its mom, and this is the first time that a bird is having to feed itself. And when you watch this, let's just watch it again. This bird is like, wait a minute. All I ever do before is I just open my mouth and a worm is dropped in. And there's a worm, and it's not happening. I found this to be really metaphorical, or really telling when I saw it. That bird, I mean, worm's not cooperating. When we come here, you guys, most of you are between the ages of 13 and 18. Some of you are 12, some are 19. And some of us are obviously a few years beyond that. But most of you guys up here are so used to being spoon-fed the Bible, the gospel, this Bible stories, in ways that younger children need to be fed. And then there comes a time when you're like, wait a minute, I've got to figure out how to feed myself and how to sustain myself. Tonight's going to be one of those nights. I've already prepped you a little bit. I don't want to alarm anybody. I didn't want to create a huge drama. But it's always fair to say, hey, we're going to talk about, some issues that are for those of you that are growing up. And if a parent says, well, I don't know, my kid's only 13. If you're, I said, if you're old enough to own a phone, then you're probably old enough to handle the things that we're going to talk about tonight. But tonight we're going to ask you to be, big birds, for lack of a better phrase. And we're going to be learning how to kind of eat differently, and you're growing up here, okay? So as we get ready to worship, know that Miss Sharon is praying for all of your prayer requests. The November prayer requests that many of you filled out on the first Wednesday, she's praying for all of those in there. And many of those prayer requests are full of some of the same things that we saw the last month or the month before it. But she's lifting all of those up right now. And some of you really poured your heart out. While we do that, there may be some students that want to be prayed with or prayed for in the room. If you're one of our prayer team teens, would you just stand up and move around the room? And if you're a guy or a girl and you want to find one of these men or young men or women and just say, hey, would you just say a prayer with me or for my friend? You can do that. Just look at them and see where they are, because we're all about to stand up in just a moment. And then tonight we're going to dive into the Word, and I've got a friend that I want you to meet. And so let's prepare our hearts, guys. Let's all stand up together and let's sing some. Those of you that are helping sing, come on up here. You are my strength when I am weak. You are my treasure that I see. You are my all in all. See you as a precious jewel, or to give up might be a fool. You are my all in all. Jesus, my cross, my shame, of God. Worthy is your 85. Blessed be your name, the land that is plentiful, where streams of abundance flow. Blessed be your name. Blessed be your name, when found in the desert place. Though I walk through the wilderness, blessed be your name. Every blessing you pour out, turn back to praise. For when the darkness closes in, Lord, still I will say, blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. Blessed be your name. The sun shining down on me, when the world's all as it should be. Blessed be your name. Blessed be your name. On the road marked with suffering, those made in the offering. Blessed be your name. Every blessing you pour out, turn back to praise. When the darkness closes in, Lord, still I will say, blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. You give and take away. You give and take away. My heart will choose to say, Lord, blessed be your name. You give and take away. You give and take away. My heart will choose to say, Lord, blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. And blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Blessed be your glorious name. 256, number 56. How great the chasm that lay between us, how high the mountain I could not climb. In desperation, I turned to heaven and spoke your name into singing tonight, you guys got to promise to sing out. You ready? All right, here we go. Your light broke through my night, and soared and seemed joy. Your grace fell like the rain, and made this everything. You have turned my mourning into dancing. You have turned my sorrow into joy. You have turned my mourning into dancing. You have turned my sorrow into joy. Your hand lifted me up. I stand on higher ground. Your praise rose in my heart and made this valley sing. You have turned my mourning into dancing. You have turned my sorrow into joy. You have turned my mourning into dancing. You have turned my sorrow into joy. This is how we overcome. And this is how we overcome. 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 Turn my mourning into dancing. You have turned have a seat. The east is from the west, so far has he removed our transgressions from us. Hallelujah. As the east is from the west, so far has he removed our transgressions from us. Hallelujah. Let's pray. God, I pray that your Spirit will be in this room tonight, and that those who have ears to hear will hear, and those words that are from you will fall into our hearts, and those things that are said that are not from you or that are not said right, may they fall away and never be remembered. God, I pray that you keep the spiritual forces of evil away from this room, God, because I believe that when your word is spoken by anyone, by any mouthpiece, by any servant of yours, that there is an enemy who wants to do all that he can to distract, to discourage, and to bring about despair. And God, I pray that the person in this room, the person or persons who need to have fresh words and fresh truth fall on their hearts, will have their ears wide open, and that you would rebuke every force of evil that might try to cause us to be distracted or to close off our hearts or our ears. Through the name of Jesus, we come ready and we say to you together, amen. Well, those that again are joining us here in person, we're glad to have a lot of you as guests. Those of you joining us online. As I've said, I didn't really want to create any unnecessary drama, but I always want to let folks know that, hey, certain nights, there's certain times that we have to talk about things that might be a little out of the ordinary or that might be a little more challenging to talk about. And tonight is one of those nights, but I think it's going to be a real hidden blessing. And my guess is that there is some person or persons in the room, male, female, middle school, high school, college student, or adult, or somebody watching online that may need to have these truths poured into your hearts. So I'm going to ask that if somebody beside you, and for whatever reason is causing a distraction, you ignore them. It'll normally quit. You can also politely ask them to not cause a distraction. That's how seriously I'm taking what has been put on my heart to share for a variety of reasons. I want to share with you a picture of a student. This is 15-year-old Braden Marcus. Braden Marcus is a high school sophomore, junior from Ohio. Braden is a football player, a wrestler, baseball player, has a smile that lights up a room everywhere he goes, is very popular at school, has friends in all different groups, plays multiple sports, is known all around the campus, is the kind of guy that if he walked in here, certainly looking through his Twitter feed, seeing numbers of tweets about Scripture and about the Spirit and about God, lets us know this is the kind of person that you want on your team. Braden's mom, Jennifer, writes that about a night in October of 2021, so just over a year ago, she said that Braden had spent most of the day playing on his Xbox with his cousins, finishing up some homework assignments, ordered some food, and had a great, amazing weekend of football where his team had been victorious. He had done. He was a running back and also the long snapper, and he had some great plays, was really excited, and it was a really awesome weekend. Braden goes home, and he's on his computer the next morning at 11:01 a.m. where he is preparing for his driver's ed, and he's taking a driver's ed test prep, app that he's on, trying to get ready for that test, as many of you have done. When all of a sudden he gets a message on Instagram from a name that he doesn't recognize, but it's a picture of a female that he thinks, I'd like to know who this person is, and she's obviously met me somewhere, and she begins to message him back and forth. And the phone records seem to indicate that for about 20 to 30 minutes, they message one another back and forth. And she tells Braden that she knows this and this about him, information that she had likely seen from his Instagram feed, and begins to talk about things that are important in his life, things and interests that he has. He's not sure where he's met this person or where he knows her, but not long after that, again, all within about a 30-minute period, on October the 22nd, he receives some messages from her asking to go and let's hang out on Google Hangout. So they go and they chat back and forth there for several minutes and talk back and forth about a lot of different things. And she expresses a desire to get a chance to meet Braden. And then she sends him an attachment that contains several pictures of herself. Pretty explicit pictures of herself. And then she begins to ask him to send a picture of himself to her. And he replies pretty quickly, I'm not going to do that. I'm 15. I'm not going to do that. And she continues to make requests, pretty strong requests, and says a number of other things as the transcript would show. And eventually, after several minutes back and forth, Braden complies and sends an explicit picture of himself to this person. That's immediately followed by a message back to him that says, I'm now going to need $1,800 from you, or I'm going to post this picture on the following sites, and names a lot of sites, his own school site, his team's Facebook page, and also other sites belonging to other organizations he's a part of. And he says, you can't do that. The person then continues to write and says, I'm going to need $1,800 and you have 15 minutes to comply. Otherwise, this picture is going to be circulated. Do you really want everybody to see this picture? And he continues to write multiple times, I'm only 15. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? That's the last thing that he texts. His mom did not get the phone records until 10 months later. Apple would not allow access into the phone. She didn't have passwords into his accounts, and they would not allow a parent into the phone from 10 months later to find out exactly what happened. They found all of this information out 10 months later, because at 11:47 on that morning, full of despair and shame and anger and frustration at what might happen to him if this were to get out and these pictures were to be released to people in his school or put on porn websites across the globe, according to this person, he couldn't live with that thought. And by 11:47, Braden Marcus had taken his own life and was found dead in his room upstairs. All within the span of 30 minutes. You're taking your driver's test one day, one moment, and then 30 minutes later your life is over because you feel like, I cannot ever let the world find out or deal with what the world I think is about to find out about me. Now, when I hear a story like that, I think, one, it's obviously terribly tragic. And then I think, this kind of thing I know is I've seen stories like this on the news. Was brokenhearted for his mom that she has to wait 10 months to get access before Apple releases the transcripts to find out exactly what happened. And it turns out the person that was messaging Braden was not a high school girl at all. They don't know who it was. That person's never been caught. It was somebody probably from some other country that knew exactly what to say, was very skilled at getting Braden to want to know more about this person. The person was not a high school girl and may not have even been a high schooler and may not have even been a female. And she began to write a Facebook post that went viral describing, this is what happened to my son. And she said, you need to know that cyber sextortion is the word that is used. Cyber sextortion has happened to my son, and I want to make other parents aware. Now, I'm not just talking about that. That's not the whole focus of what I'm not trying to make parents aware of that, although I did a little bit of research because I'm like, I've heard of these things happening, and I know of these words, but there's an organization, a lady named Donna Hughes, who had a child that also dealt with this, started an organization called Enough is Enough. This is what alarmed me. She said, since 2016, there have been 262,573 reported cases of this happening to other teenagers that have reported it to her organization. Now, that's 260,000 plus cases that have been reported to her organization. In 2019 to 2021, we all know what happened right in the middle of that. She says the number of reported incidents doubled. Not just by a slight increase, but it doubled. And then in an online report from an anti-trafficking organization that was released in April of 2022, just months ago, this is the stat that I had to confirm with 2 different places because I could not believe it, said that 4 out of every 10 minors, 4 out of every 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, pick 4, have reported that they have been approached online by someone that they believe was trying to befriend them and or manipulate them that maybe they didn't know. Now, I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what to do with that information. I just know that here is a young man who made a choice that he regrets and very quickly realized that the shame then turned into fear, the fear turned into confusion, and the confusion turned into this desperation, all within a span of less than 35 minutes. And his life was gone. I saw a video, a news story from this community where all of his friends and teammates were saying what an incredible guy this was, what a great leader, what an incredible young man. They were having a memorial service where 600 of his classmates showed up. One of the police officers who was helping to investigate the case, he said, we've got to have greater communication between parents and teens. But here's what he said that I thought was really significant. He said, parents say, I just don't know that I'm ready to have this conversation with my child. And he said, if your child is old enough to have a phone, then they're old enough to have this conversation. And then he said this. They said, what message would you give to young people? And he said, I wish I could just tell every young person watching this newscast, there is nothing that you can't work beyond. Nothing. No matter what you've done. No matter what's happened to you or what you caused, there is nothing that we can't work beyond. You say, if this person found out, if my mom or dad found out, they would not. And sure, there's going to be disappointment. There's going to be heartache. There may be tears. There may even be some raised voices. There might be some disappointment. There might be discipline. There might be consequences. But there is nothing that can't be worked beyond that maybe you've been through. And a lot of his friends said, if only he had called us and said, this is what's happened to me. They were like, why wouldn't he have called one of us? His mom said, why wouldn't he have come downstairs and said, Mom, I really made a big mistake. You've got to help me through this. And it was so heartbreaking to watch this mom. Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, has a quote that I think is applicable to all teenagers. He's not just for little kids, TV show. He said, if it's mentionable, it's manageable. If it's mentionable, it's manageable. Meaning, if you can find a way to express it to somebody else, then you're going to be able to deal with it. If it's mentionable, it's manageable. I think it's worth mentioning. We talked about this the other night. The number of the increase in the calls to the suicide and crisis hotline after they went from the 1-800 number that was hard to remember to 988. And I feel compelled to put this up here on the screen because of the number of times that this kind of thing was mentioned on the prayer request, not just last month or this month, but every other month, where people say things like, I just don't know that I can get beyond this. I'm not so sure that I'm going to be able to make it. And a lot of you report these kinds of things. And so I wanted to, first of all, share the story of this young man. And then when I went to his Twitter feed, this is the description that he gives of himself. Long snapper, wrestling, baseball, the positions he plays, his height and his weight. And then Psalm 73:26. If you look up Psalm 73:26, it'll read, my flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. It's a story of a young man that I'm not so sure fully took that in and fully believed that truth was actually true. I'm not criticizing him, certainly not judging him or blaming him. My heart is broken that this young man went through this particular story, which leads us to the reason that we put this passage, this chapter in the list of 52. Again, some of you say, I've not read any of these. Drew showed us last week that if you read these things, you can read all the chapters up through this week in less time than it would take you to watch Top Gun Maverick and still have time to spare. It's not going to take you long to read all the chapters. And this week's is 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. I've had the privilege of reading this with 3 different groups of people over the past Sunday and Monday, Tuesday, 3 different groups, some larger, some smaller, some one-on-one, to read through this passage. And there's a very distinct reason that it makes the list. Paul is writing to a church. Let's just imagine that he's writing to the NBYG. He just writes, instead of to the Thessalonians, he writes to the NBYG students. And he says, hey guys, it's God's will that you should be sanctified. Let's just stop for just a second, and I want to just go to that word, sanctified. It's not a word that you all use. My guess is, unless you were talking about this passage or maybe in church, you've not said this word or used this word probably in a long time. It's God's will that you should be sanctified. If I asked you what the word sanctified meant, it's a holy sounding word. It's a very churchy sounding word, but it's a word that means to be set apart. It means the word sanctus is the word holy, and then the other part of the word of sanctify, the other Latin root, is a word that means to put. So it means to put apart, to set apart. The best way, or not the best way clearly, but I describe this, that if this cup is set aside for Knox, and this is Knox's cup, and he said, this is my cup and this is my water. Anybody that comes up and says, hey, I'm going to get that water, I say, no, you can't have this water. This cup of water has been set apart. It's been set aside. This belongs to Knox. I wouldn't say it's been sanctified. I would just say this belongs to Knox. This cup is set aside. The word sanctified doesn't mean is that you be perfect. It doesn't mean it's God's will that you be holy. In the sense of holy meaning perfect and sinless. Holy is a word that means set apart. It's God's will that you be set apart for a purpose. So then, if he says, you go, I don't know how to be sanctified. How am I sanctified? It's God's will that you be set apart. And then he says, I'm going to start talking you through how important it is that you be set apart. So you would think he would start off with things like, you should pray, and you should read your Bible, and you should have quiet time, and you should serve other people. All of those things are important, guys. But when he's making his list, look at what he starts with. He doesn't say, so learn how to worship or learn how to be nice to people. He says you should be sanctified, that you should avoid sexual immorality, that each of you should learn to control your own body in a way that is holy and honorable, not in passionate lust like the pagans who do not know God, and that in this matter no one should wrong or take advantage of a brother or sister. The Lord will punish all those who commit such sins, as we told you and we warned you before. For God did not call us to be impure, but to live a holy, set-apart life. Therefore, anyone who rejects this instruction does not reject a human being, but God, the very God who gives you His Holy Spirit. Now, here's a truth I want you to lock in. Now, if you're in 7th or 8th grade, I can understand that you're thinking, these are kind of some new things, and we talked about this in my family, or we talk about this in my school. But certainly tonight, I'm probably maybe speaking a little bit more to 9th, 10th, and maybe you 11th and 12th graders, and to those of us who are older in the room, maybe. But I want you to understand something. It is it's so easy for the strategy of Satan to be, I'm going to make sex such a bad, evil thing so that everybody thinks, oh, we can't talk about it. Oh, we've been told we can't do it, and we can't think about it, and we can't watch it, and it's so bad that we're going to set it apart and put it over here as something that we never talk about. And I want to suggest that maybe we set it apart in the wrong direction. God says, no. I'm not asking you to not do it because it's so bad. Because then you set people up. Again, you guys are doing a great job listening, and I know this requires mature ears. It's not that we ask you to set it apart because it is so bad, and so you should not do it because it's wrong and it's sinful, so you should set this apart and put it way over here. No, if you do that, then when one day you get married, then you kind of live with this, oh, now we get to do that really bad thing that we've never been allowed to talk about. And that is totally the backwards wrong way to discuss this. When you set it apart and you put it in a place that says, this, nobody can touch this because this right here, this belongs to Knox. This is Knox's cup. It's been sanctified. It's been set apart. And it also means to continue to prepare it. It doesn't just mean that it was set apart. You guys remember when we did the Panoply series, we talked about a Greek word that starts with an S and it ends with an O, and it's got 4 letters, and it means it's a word that means salvation. Other than the guys that I talked about this just very recently, what was that word? Anybody remember it? Sozo. Thank you very good. So that's awesome. That's like 50 points right there. Sozo. The word sozo. It's a word that means healing, and it's a word that means salvation. But it doesn't mean, so when Alexa, when were you baptized? March the 2nd of this year, right? So when Alexa was baptized, we would say that she was saved in the past tense. But she is being saved right now because she wasn't made perfect when she was baptized. She continues to make bad decisions and maybe struggle with things. She was saved then. She's being saved now. And then one day, Alexa, you're going to be saved in a very different way. Think about it this way. She was saved from the penalty of sin. If you got it, say got it. She is being saved from the power of sin, and then one day she's going to be saved from the presence of sin. So it's a process that is always happening. Sanctification is always happening. And it's not odd, but it's just very clear that the first thing he starts off with when he says, let's talk about sanctification, I'm going to tie it to sexual morality. Because the one thing you need to know to be set apart, God has given you one gift so that you might understand what it means to be so intimate and so knowledgeable of one other person. God has designed it to where there is one person in your world that you know more than anybody else, and you know better than anybody else, and that person has been set apart for you. Genesis says we were naked and not ashamed. But I can guarantee you that if anybody here, unless you were in the context of marriage with that person, even if you say, you know what, I'm dating this girl, dating this guy, I'm telling you, when you're unclothed, it's like you're going to feel some sense of, nobody else can know this, I'm going to be ashamed. And God says, you were meant to be naked and you were meant to be not ashamed. It is set apart. I gave you this one thing so that you could experience it. And in that moment, you would have just a small peek at what it's like for the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit to have complete unity together. And God says, I'm going to give you, what can I do for my people to help them to understand, oh, this is kind of like that. Now, for some of us, that's scandalous to hear that because you're like, I don't believe we ever can talk about it this way. And I'm thinking Paul says we should, because the first step to sanctification is to understanding what it means to keep your bodies pure. But, like Braden, most of us have found ourselves in a place of brokenness, and you say, oh, man, I didn't keep this cup prepared for what it was prepared for. Either because of the things I looked at or the things I did or oh man. And then you find yourself, maybe not in a 41-minute time span leading to desperation, but you find yourself thinking, oh wow. And so I have another picture that I want you to see. This picture here might describe what you begin to feel. It's a darkness, a cloudy muck of grayness, and it looks like a storm coming in. And although there might be something oddly beautiful about this, you just see this is gray and it's drab, and this is what your soul begins to feel like until I zoom out on the picture just a little bit and I begin to show you the transformation. Now you can see that it's obviously a piece of pottery or a work of art that slowly is beginning to be transformed into something a little bit better. And then you see that it goes from being gray to kind of pretty and organized black and gray, and then to something beautiful. But not only a bottle that has gone from gray to beautiful, but then you see that there's cups there. And you think to yourself, I wonder what's going on here. Well, I'm really excited. I told you we'd have a friend tonight. We're going to spend the last few remaining moments of True North tonight meeting and talking to my friend who actually made this, which it's now on display and on exhibit. And a friend of mine, I've got a pot in my office that this friend of mine threw. Some of you, I don't know, would have ever have known him, but he teaches at the Harding Academy in Memphis. He married my wife's best friend, and I participated in their wedding ceremony. He was one of my dearest friends in college, and we asked if he would join us, and I believe he is online and has been watching the entire time. Would you give an nbyg welcome to my friend Eddie Efall? Would you give a big hand to Eddie, everybody?
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
What's up, Eddie? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you totally fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you great, and you can see us now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Hey, our tech team has done an incredible job of making conversations like this possible. Let's give them a big hand. It's pretty incredible. All right, so Eddie, you and I met sometime in 1993 or 4. I don't remember the exact year we met, but it was in the mid-90s, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
And you have always been an artist. Tell me, when did you first, go back to when you were a kid. When did you first love, because there's a lot of students in here who say, you know what, I think you're pretty artistic in some way, whether it's pottery or painting or maybe music or art or weaving or some other type of art. When did you first know, I love doing this kind of thing, Eddie?
I would say elementary school, really, really young. I remember very vividly my art teacher in junior high. when I walked into 7th grade, she saw me, and when I walked in the room, and she said, "I know who you are. You're Eddie Efall." And I was like, wow, that's really cool that somebody actually knows my name before I met them. And it just made me feel so good that because of the art that I'd done in elementary school, I guess my elementary teachers kind of spread the word around. And when that junior high teacher said that, I was like, wow, like that feeling that made me feel so good inside, that I just thought that's who I am.
Eddie, what's the first thing you remember making that caused people, I mean, all of us when we're kids, we make stuff and our parents go, oh, they put it on the fridge or they put it beside the couch and they're like, I love this. But what was the first thing you made that caught the attention of more than just your family? Do you remember?
I would say I was at a conference once in Nashville, and the guy who runs the conference knew I was a potter, but I didn't have any of my stuff out on display. There were a lot of artists selling stuff. And this guy said, "Hey, man, you should put some of your stuff out here." And I was like, really? I happened to have some stuff in my car because I was showing some other people at the conference. And I put it out. And I would say within 10 or 15 minutes, some people were walking up and they were looking at the mugs I had made. And I sold all those mugs. And I just felt amazing that it was just somebody who didn't know me, saw my stuff, loved it, and great feeling for sure.
So, Eddie, you made this piece of pottery that I just showed. And guys in the booth, I'm going to go back and forth to the PowerPoint at some point. So when we get ready to go back to that, just be ready to switch back and forth to that. I want to show us a picture. We should still be able to hear you while we switch to this. Guys, can you go back to the image of the thing? And I believe Eddie should be able to see what we're looking at. This is the piece of pottery you made. And Eddie, you got a cool name for it. What do you call this piece of art?
So I call this piece "Mourning into Dancing Poured Out for Others." It's based on the Psalm 30, verse 11, and also Isaiah 61. So the Psalm 31:11 says, "You have turned for me my mourning into dancing. You have loosed my sackcloth and clothed me with gladness, that my glory may sing your praise and not be silent. The Lord my God will give thanks to you forever." And then the Isaiah 61:3 that also is connected with says, it's that one you know of, "You will provide for those who grieve. You will give them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, and the oil instead of mourning." So that's what the piece is based on. There was a call for artists that went out on a website that I follow, and they were asking artists to engage with those two verses and kind of see what they could come up with that would portray those verses in a way that was a visual arts kind of thing. And usually they don't allow those people. Usually it's painters or printmakers, and in the description it said potters. And I perked up and I was like, hey, finally I get to submit something. So I started getting my wheels turning. I had that bottle sitting in there and those cups were there, but they were completely blank. And I just started thinking about what could I do with the style of art that I do on some other pieces. Like I have some other bottles that I do this geometric style on. And so I thought, well, how can I make my style that I do that portray those verses? So that's when I launched into the idea of along the bottom. I had been making some mugs before that had some of that real messy kind of stuff along the bottom. Yep. The designs inside. And I was always intrigued by this point. I like the design here and I actually kind of like the top and bottom, but the place to me that has all the magic is the place where they touch each other. I just felt like that moment where that sort of chaos hits the order that's in the middle is just a really sweet spot for me. Like I just don't think that either of those parts would have the intensity or the excitement that they have if they weren't touching one another. So I was like, let me see what I can do. And that's the design I came up with.
So you have this awesome piece of pottery where it starts off gray and dreary and it begins to change as it goes up there. You've already mentioned the verses and you already kind of talked a little bit about it, but explain a person who's going through that grayness, what do you want them to see when they look at that piece and they see that piece? What, specifically a teenager who says, I've done some things or some things have happened to me that have caused my life to feel like this dreary mess down here at the bottom of this piece of pottery. What would you want them to see as they look at that?
I think what I'm hoping that they notice, and this is symbolic in and of itself, what you did with zooming out on that is really important, because I think what we tend to do when we're in those moments, whether we're teenagers or adults, and teens, this happens to adults too, it happens to all of us. It's not just because you're a teenager that you have these feelings of mourning and think you've done things that are wrong. Everybody does that, by the way. But I think what I want them to notice is that piece is small enough that in order for you to be focused only on the negative at the bottom, that pot would have to be right here, like right close to you.
Yeah.
Typically, when you look at artwork, you tend to look at it about one arm's length away. So when you're looking at a painting on a wall, you stand about an arm's length away. And when you put that piece an arm's length away, you see all of it at once. Okay, you see all of it. So I think what tends to happen with teenagers and with adults is when we're in the mourning place, when we're in the place where we feel like we've done something so bad that we can never come back from, it's because all we can see is the bottom. All we can see is the chaos. All we can see is the muck at the bottom. But when you pull back from it just a little and you see, like you said, you know, Mr. Rogers' quote, there's nothing that you can't come out of. But at the moment, you think it's impossible because you're seeing just the muck and the mire. But when you can allow yourself to get in your imagination and imagine this a month from now or 2 months from now or a year from now, it's just going to get better. It does take time. It takes patience. It's going to take some hard conversations and some vulnerability, but you can move up that pot into the order, into the beauty. And eventually you could even say to yourself, one day that beauty and that dancing that's at the top of that bottle will get poured out into the lives of other people. And the beauty that comes out of that mourning is actually going to be healthy. It's going to be positive and it's going to help some people. It's going to be pouring into other people's lives so that they can drink the beauty in, and it just changes. But you can't think about that when you're in the mire, but you got to pull back. It's about getting a bigger picture and seeing the full picture.
I want to make sure that you all heard his description of what he said. And if you didn't hear it, there may be a reason that you're just distracted, but I'm hoping that somebody heard that. And you kind of walked through and said, that's me. And not only is the message you're going to be, can be made beautiful again, but then made where you could pour it out. A couple of quick stories, Eddie, before we're going to have to let you go. Years ago, you spoke at one of our fall retreats. Before many of these students before any of them were in the youth group, and before some of them may have been born, for all I know. It's been a long time ago. But you spoke at the same place in Lynchburg we go to. You threw a pot on the stage, you made some pottery, and then you gave that pottery to one of our students. And I believe that it was Carson Perry, if I'm not mistaken, that you handed this pot to. And you'd made this awesome pot. You gave it to Carson, and he held it and he looked at it and he was like, showing it to everybody, and we were all like very impressed because you made it right there in front of us while we worshiped. And then Carson just took it and picked it up and he threw it down onto the ground. And everybody just froze in the room. Well, you had instructed him to do that. It shattered into several pieces because it had dried, I guess, overnight, and it was enough to where it shattered. And then everybody was like, what's going to happen? You picked all those broken pieces up and you talked a lot about brokenness. And then you walked over, and you remember where you put those broken pieces of pottery?
Yeah, we put them in a bowl, right? And poured water on them.
And you put them in a bowl, you poured water on them. It's like almost like you baptized them. The water, they sit there overnight, and then for communion on Sunday, what did you do?
So I got up really early because you have to get up because I got up early. That water had broken that clay down to, it became what's called slip, just really watery, really like you can't, it's like pudding. You couldn't even pick it up. So I pulled it out of there and I let it dry. I had a plaster bat that's going to help it dry. And I let it dry, and then I started wedging it. I started kneading it. So I had to turn it over, get it all back to get it drier. I put it back into a ball. We put that back on the potter's wheel, which I got one of those right back there. We put it on a potter's wheel, and I threw another piece out of it. So it literally was something out of nothing. It was broken pieces. It was mourning. It was grieving. I know people in the audience, some of them were still mad at me. I think there were some parents especially that were pretty ticked off that I had done that. And we talked about how this clay that is on this wheel is you. The Bible says, Isaiah says, God is the potter and we're the clay. So I talked about how I want you to look at this piece and imagine the brokenness in your life. And I want you to imagine God's hands wrapping themselves around you and just lifting you up and pushing you down, and lifting you up. And then I put my fingers in and opened the hole and I pulled those walls up. And there was a brand new form, completely different from the one before, completely different, brand new, and very usable. It was a utilitarian piece, a vessel that God could then use.
I remember a student at that retreat. I won't name them because there may be some folks in here who would remember them or know them, but they came up afterwards and they were just standing there looking at that piece of pottery even as we were cleaning up for the retreat. And I walked up and I said, "That's pretty cool, isn't it?" And they just stood there, didn't answer my question, didn't acknowledge that I was standing there. And I said, did you have a good weekend? And they didn't really respond. And I thought, are they mad? Are they being rude? I started to walk away, and they said, "Hey," I turned around and they said, "Can God do this for me? Can God do this for me?" And just said yes. There was one other thing that happened, and there was a painting that was done. You brought some art students with you, and there was a painting that you made. It was a picture. You started off with a beautiful picture of the sun. It was a radiant picture of the sun. And then as you talked and we watched him paint, everybody was so excited to see this awesome picture of the sun. And you dipped your hand in black paint, and you walked over, and you just started wiping your hand all over the top of that painting and completely, seemingly destroyed it, right? The audience gasped again. They were like, "What is he doing? He's mad because somebody broke his pot," because we still had not seen you. We still had not seen you turn that pot into a new pot yet. So all we thought was your pot's broken and now you're getting revenge, and you go out and you tear up this picture of the sun and you just left it sitting on the easel all night long until the next day. Well, the next day we get the painting of the sun. He brings that picture out, and then Eddie says, "This picture is ruined. Like, we can make a new pot, but we can't do anything to fix this painting," until the painter that Eddie brought with him stood up and walked up and began to take that painting and began to draw in the middle of that picture of the sun the face of Christ. And then as he drew the face of Christ, he stepped back, and we realized that the marks that Eddie had made with his hands slashing that painting became the crown of thorns on the face of Christ. And all these years later, as some of you already figured out, that painting sits right over here, and it's been here for over a decade with this beautiful picture of the sun. I should have given the camera guys warning that we're coming over here, but I'm sure they followed us here. And Eddie, this is all Eddie's hands. Eddie marked all this up, and I mean, it destroyed this picture. People were so mad because it was a beautiful picture of the sun. Until then, your friend painted this picture of Jesus, and the last thing you did, Eddie, was dip your hand into some red paint, or maybe your student, Kyle, dipped his hand into some red paint and put it right there, and we watched the blood drip down the face of Christ. That was the last thing that we saw on the retreat. And then every one of these pictures that had been drawn for other things, this one representing 9/11, this one up here representing the darkness of an eclipse. Some of them representing choices, and some representing Zacchaeus up in a tree. And this one, the path for the future of our seniors. And this one, Adam, Eve reaching for the forbidden fruit. All of these pictures were all rearranged as if to say, we're all a part of one big story. And at the middle of that story is a painting that was destroyed until Jesus says, "I'm going to come and make it right." And that painting, which most people don't even know what it means, I love the Jesus' body was like being lost in the wilderness. And you turn that picture over and it becomes the torso of Christ. And there it is. That's the story behind that painting, and Eddie's hands there is what made the crown of thorns. Guys, go back to the PowerPoint for just a second. I want to show you before we let Eddie go. I want to show you, here's the being poured out. One of the things, Eddie already showed you some of these cups. I love this one. It's got our own nbyg colors. That one's a really cool one there. Eddie didn't know that I was going to do this, but if you go to Eddie Efaw Art. Eddie, is that all one word on Etsy, Eddie Efaw Art?
I think so, yeah. If you go to eddieefaw.com, you can click on shop and it'll take you to the Etsy place, yeah.
Yeah, and so here are some of the mugs that he made, and then you can see all of the art right here. I love, there's the pages of several things that some of you may want to go and pick up a piece of his art, which is all really cool. What I loved were these wooden guitar picks. Did you make these, Eddie?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. For those of you that play guitar or love guitar or know somebody, this is pretty incredible. I show you this to show you that he is always creating and always pouring out. Before we come back to Eddie to say goodbye, I just want to show you this psalm. This is Psalm 30. Eddie, I don't know if we can do this or not. If the screen can zoom in on the screen so Eddie can see what's on the screen. Eddie, are you able to read this to us based on the screen if they zoom in on our screen here at True North?
Yeah, I can see it. Absolutely.
I'll change slides when it's time. Guys, I want you to hear this before we wrap up. Eddie, read it to us.
Lord my God, I called to you for help, and you healed me. Lord, you brought me up from the realm of the dead. You spared me from going down to the pit. Sing the praises of the Lord. You, his faithful people, praise his holy name, for his anger lasts only a moment, but his favor lasts a lifetime. Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning. When I felt secure, I said, I will never be shaken. Lord, when you favored me, you made my royal mountain stand firm. But when you hid your face, I was dismayed. To you, Lord, I called. To the Lord, I cried for mercy. What is gained if I am silent? If I go down to the pit, will the dust praise you? Will it proclaim your faithfulness? Hear, Lord, and be merciful to me. Lord, be my help. You turned my mourning into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy, that my heart may sing your praise and not be silent. My Lord, I will praise you forever.
Let's go back to Eddie. Guys, would you join me in saying thanks to my good friend Eddie Efaw for joining us tonight? Eddie, this brief conversation was everything that I hoped it would be. Keep creating, and I'm so thankful for you. Braden Marcus, the night before he died, sent out one final tweet, having no idea that it was his final tweet or his last night. And that tweet simply said one sentence. It said, "This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it." I'm telling you that the enemy will come after any one of us. Even those of you that are soaking yourself in the Word of God, he'll come after you, but he can turn your mourning into dancing. Eddie, we're going to play a song. You can hang around and listen to this one song. I want to close tonight by you guys just looking at the words on the screen. Eddie, I know you love music. Are you a big Rend Collective fan?
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to play a song from Rend Collective's new album. It's become the song that when I walk in the morning, it's the first song that I listen to. And my guess is there is somebody in this room that needs this as your closing prayer for tonight. Because some of you have some shame, some fear, some confusion. You were sanctified, but you've forgotten about your sanctification. And I just want you to let the words of this song soak in, and this will be the last thing you hear. When the song is over, you'll be dismissed. Eddie, thanks a lot. Stay tuned if you want to listen to the song. Guys, if you'll play that video and let this be on your heart as you think about Eddie's piece of art, Mourning into Dancing, poured out for others. Check this out. May the God of hope who gives you the Holy Spirit turn your mourning into dancing, and may you go in peace. God bless you guys. Have a great night. Thanks, Eddie, if you're still listening. Y'all take care. Be careful going home.